Welcome to our first musical Shabbat since the last one we had. I've already asked Robin to lead Kiddush for us. Can I get a volunteer to come up and do candle lighting tonight? Okay, Bruce can come. All right, so we're going to start on page 121. Come on up, Bruce. Let's light the candles.
So, as these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we, by our lives, give light to all who behold us. As their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light, so may we, in our own day, be among those who kindle light.
Go for it.
All right. Where's the lighter?
We don't have a lighter.
No lighter. Ah.
Yeah, we're using flat matches easier.
I hate matches. They're nothing but trouble. Come, little match, do your job. There you go. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lahad l'kner shel Shabbat.
Amen.
Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, who hallows us with mitzvot, commanding us to kindle the lights of Shabbat.
Thanks a lot, Bruce. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
All right, we're going to continue with 18 Shabbat blessings for peace in Israel and Palestine by Hila Ratzabi. May this light embrace all who are suffering through war. May this light spread and reach toward the hostages and their families, wrapping them in a protective embrace. May this light illuminate paths of safety and shelter for the people of Gaza. May this light shatter barriers separating food and aid from innocent civilians. May this light open space for the people of Israel and of Palestine to process their grief and anxiety. May this light break open the barriers in our hearts. May this light soften anger and fear. May this light erase thoughts of revenge. May this light give us strength to stand up against extremists in power. May this light hold gently the traumas of our past and the traumas of our present. May all the people who call Israel and Palestine their home come together to grieve and witness each other's pain. May we transform our grief into solidarity. May our solidarity pave the way for a shared future. May we nurture the divine spark in ourselves. May that spark shine out to include our families, friends, neighbors, and all who live on earth. May the divine light from before creation inspire us to choose life. May this light empower us to build the future we want to see. May this light guide us on the path toward healing and peace. All right, we're going to turn to page 123 now. I'd like to invite Robin up to lead us in Kiddush.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsha b'ahavahu v'ratzan hinkilanu zikaron le'maaseh bereshit ki hu yom techila l'mikra'e kodesh zecher letziat Mitzrayim kivanu v'chata v'yotanu kidashta mikol hamim v'shabbat kodshecha v'ahavahu v'ratzan hinchaltanu Baruch atah Adonai Mekadesh HaShabbat. Amen.
L'chaim. Shabbat Shalom. Oh, and hey, could Ross borrow the mic while we're doing the singing? Thanks. All right, folks, let's turn to page 127, and we'll read together in English. We offer thanks, O God, for this Shabbat, which unites us in faith and hope, for Shabbat holiness, which inspires sacred living, for Shabbat memories glowing even in darkness, for Shabbat peace, born of friendship and love. We offer thanks and blessing, O God. Let's turn to page 138 for Lecha Dodi. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, la la la, Pnei Shabbat nekabela. Pnei Shabbat nekabela, Lecha Dodi likrat kala, la la la, Pnei Shabbat nekabela. Shamor v'zachor b'dibur echad, Hishmianu el hameyuchad, Adonai echad u'shemo echad, L'shem u'tiferet ve'litila. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, la la la, Pnei Shabbat nekabela. Likrat Shabbat lechu v'nelcha, Ki hi mekor haberacha, Merosh mikedem nesucha, Sof maseh b'machasha v'techila. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, la la la, Pnei Shabbat nekabela. Mikdash melech ir melucha, Kumitzei mitoch ha'afecha, Rav lakshevet be'emek habacha, Vehu yachamo alayichem la. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, la la la, Pnei Shabbat nekabela. Yamin u'smol tifrotzi, Ve'et Adonai taharitzi, Al yad ish ben partzi, Ve'nismecha ve'nagila. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, la la la, Pnei Shabbat nekabela. Boi v'shalom ateret bala, Gam b'simcha u'b'tzola, Tochem unei am segula. Boi chala, Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, la la la, Pnei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, la la la, Pnei Shabbat nekabela. Hey folks, we're going to turn to page 636 now for Yedid Nefesh, if you're looking on in the book. Evan, could we maybe make my mic a little hotter? I feel like I'm having to lean forward and eat the mic. Thanks, I really appreciate it. All right, we're on page 636, Yedid Nefesh. Yedid Nefesh, Yadadai Avarama, Meshach Avdecha, El Ritzonecha, Yaruz Avdecha, ותגיע אמונה ירדי רחמך וחוסנה הרבינו בך כי זה כמה נכסוף לראות בתפארת עוזתו ענה אלי חמדת ליבי חוסנה ואייתי תלם יגאלנה ינאי ופרוס אביב עלי את סוכת שלומך תאיר ארץ מקומותיך נגילה ונשמחה בך מהר אהוב קיבלנו בית וחוננו כי ימי עולם ירדי די די ירדי די 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 ירדי די 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 ירדי די 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 ירדי די 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 ירדי די 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 All right, folks, we're going to turn back in the prayer book to page 140 for Psalm 92. Just gonna up a little bit. There we go. All right, 140. Yep. מזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר לשמך עליון, ולזמר לשמך עליון. מזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר לשמך עליון, ולזמר לשמך עליון. להגיד בבוקר חסדך ואמונתך מלילות, עלי אסור עלינה ועלי גיון בכינור. מזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר לשמך עליון, ולזמר לשמך עליון. כי שמחתני אדוני בפועלך, במעשה ידך רונן. מה גודלו מעשה אדוני, מאוד אהוב משפטותיך. מזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר לשמך עליון, ולזמר לשמך עליון. מזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לשמך עליון, ולזמר לשמך עליון. All right, we're going to turn to page 142 now for Shalom Aleichem. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon. Mi Melech Malachei Hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Moachem L'Shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon. Mi Melech Malachei Hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Barchuni L'Shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon. Mi Melech Malachei Hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Tzidchem L'Shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon. Mi Melech Malachei Hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. All right, folks. We're turning now to 145. Let's read together in English. Entrances to holiness are everywhere. The possibility of ascent is all the time, even at unlikely times and through unlikely places. There is no place on earth without the presence. All right. Normally, at this point, I'd be inviting you to turn to page 146 for Baruch Hu, but we're using a version of Baruch Hu that's a little different. So we're going to take a look up at the screen here, and I'm going to invite you to rise, as usual, for the Baruch Hu. Baruch Hu et Adonai, Baruch Hu et Adonai, Baruch Hu et Adonai, HaMevorach, Baruch Adonai HaMevorach, Baruch Adonai HaMevorach, Baruch Adonai HaMevorach, Le'olam Va'ed. Praised are you, Adonai, our God, whose word brings on the evening dusk. Your wisdom opens the gates of the dawn. You will the forward flow of the seasons. The stars keep their appointed place, bowing low to the one beyond the sun. You create the day and you create the night. You alternate the darkness and the light. You sweep away the day, you bring the night. You separate the one from the other. We call you El Shaddai, Adonai Tzevaot. You are the Elohim Chaim. Rule over us as you rule this good earth. Praised are you who brings the evening's peace. All right, folks, feel free to have a seat. Going to turn to another slide up here on the screen. This is a version of Ahavat Olam. It's kind of a creative interpretation by Rabbi Rami M. Shapiro. Which color is that? Oh, here we go, purple. We are loved by an unending love. We are loved by an unending love. We are loved by an unending love. We are loved. We are loved. We are loved by an unending love. We are loved by an unending love. We are loved by an unending love. We are loved. We are loved. We are embraced by arms that find us. Even when we're hidden from ourselves, we are embraced by arms that find us. Even when we're hidden from ourselves, we are loved by an unending love. We are loved by an unending love. We are loved by an unending love. We are loved. We are loved. We are touched by fingers that soothe us. Even when we're too proud for soothing, we are counseled by voices that guide us. Even when we're too embittered to hear, we are loved by an unending love. We are loved by an unending love. We are loved by an unending love. We are loved. We are loved. We are supported by hands that uplift us. Even in the midst of a fall, we are urged on by eyes that meet us. Even when we're too weak for meeting, we are loved by an unending love. We are loved by an unending love. We are loved by an unending love. We are loved. We are loved. Embraced, touched, soothed, and counseled. Ours are the arms, the fingers, the voices. Ours are the arms, the fingers, the voices. Ours are the hands, the eyes, and the smiles. We are loved by an unending love. We are loved by an unending love. We are loved by an unending love. We are loved. We are loved. We are loved by an unending love. We are loved by an unending love. We are loved by an unending love. We are loved. We are loved. All right. Why don't we turn now to page 152, and I'd like to invite you to rise with us here for a moment as we prepare to recite the opening of the Shema. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem, Kevod Malchuto, Leolam Vaed. All right, feel free to have a seat. We'll continue on 154. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol miotecha ve'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavcha hayom al levavecha ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשופך ובקומך וקשרתם לאות על ידך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובישעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אדוני אלוהיכם אמת. All right, continuing on page 157, let's read together. In a world torn by violence and pain, a world far from wholeness and peace, give us the courage to say, Adonai, there is one God in heaven and earth. The high heavens declare your glory. May earth reveal your justice and love. From bondage in Egypt we were delivered. At Sinai we bound ourselves to your way. Inspired by prophets and instructed by sages, time and again we overcame oppressive forces. Though our failings are many and our faults are great, it has been our glory to bear witness to our God, keeping alive in dark ages your vision of a world redeemed. Let us continue to work for the day when the nations will be one and at peace. Then shall we rejoice as Israel did, singing on the shores of the sea. Page 158. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nedar b'kodesh, nora tehilot osefele, malchutecha ra'u vanecha, bokei hayam lifnei Moshe u'Miriam, ze elianu ve'amru, Adonai yimloch leolam vaed, ונאמר כי פדה אדוני את יעקב, וגאלו מיד חזק ממנו, ברוך אתה אדוני גאל Yisrael. All right, so for Hashkiveinu, we'll be once again directing your attention up here to the slide. Spread over me the shelter of your peace. Spread over me the shelter of your peace. Help us lie down, my dear one, in peace. Oh, help us to lie down in peace, and help us to rise up again to life. Help us to rise up to life. Spread over me the shelter of your peace. Spread over me the shelter of your peace. Guide us, my dear one, with your good advice. Oh, guide us with your good advice, and save us, my love, for the sake of your name. Save us for the sake of your name. Spread over me the shelter of your peace. Spread over me the shelter of your peace. Hide us, my love, in the shade of your wings. Hide us in the shade of your wings. For you are a God who protects and who saves. A God who protects and who saves. Spread over me the shelter of your peace. Spread over me the shelter of your peace. Watch over our coming, watch over our leaving, for now and for all time. Blessed is the one who spreads your peace over us and all humankind. Spread over me the shelter of your peace. Spread over me the shelter of your peace. Alrighty. We are turning now in the book to page 162 for Yismechu. As I mentioned last time that we did a musical Shabbat, I'm always trying to teach this tune as a round, and that's why I really enjoy doing it with the music, because it means that you can hear it as a round. It's a little easier to sing. So I'm going to take part one, and Ross, you're going to jump in a measure after me. Okay, sounds good. I think it's technically two measures, but you know how it goes. ישמחו במלכותך שומרי שבת וקוראי עונג המקדשי שביעי כולם ישבעו ויתענגו מטובך ישמחו במלכותך שומרי שבת וקוראי עונג המקדשי שביעי כולם ישבעו ויתענגו מטובך ישמחו במלכותך שומרי שבת וקוראי עונג המקדשי שביעי כולם ישבעו ויתענגו Alrighty. We are going to turn now to page 164. I'll invite you to rise with us for the beginning of the Amidah. Adonai sefatai tiftach ufi yagi tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Page 166. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu ve'Elohei avotenu ve'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, ve'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, ve'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor me'hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, ve'Konei Hakol, וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם למען שמו באהבה. Melech Ozer Umoshia Umagen, Baruch Ata Adonai Magen Avraham, Be'ezrat Sarah. Ata Gibor Leolam Adonai, Mechaye Metim Ata Rav Lahoshia, Morid Hatal, Mechalkel Chaim Bechesed, Mechaye Metim Berachamim Rabim, Sahomek Noflim Verofech Oholim, Umatir Asurim, Umekayem emunato lishenei afar michamocha bal gevurot umido mehelach melech memit umechayeh umatzmiach Yeshua v'ne'eman ata lachayot metim Baruch ata Adonai mechayeh hametim. All right, feel free to have a seat if you'd like. And we'll turn to page 171. Let's read together in English. Days pass and the years vanish, and we walk sightless among miracles. God, fill our eyes with seeing and our minds with knowing. Let there be moments when your presence, like lightning, illumines the darkness in which we walk. Help us to see wherever we gaze that the bush burns unconsumed, and we, clay touched by God, will reach out for holiness and exclaim in wonder, how filled with awe is this place, and we did not know it. Baruch atah Adonai ha'el hakadosh. Let's read together on page 173. May these hours of rest and renewal open our hearts to joy and our minds to truth. May all who struggle find rest on this day. May all who suffer find solace. May all who hurt find healing on this day. May all who despair find purpose. May all who hunger find fulfillment on this day. And may this day fulfill its promise. Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh ha-Shabbat. Okay, that's yours. Been getting a couple of requests for this recently, so I decided to make this my little project for the current, for this synth pop Shabbat. Ritzei Adonai Eloheinu ve'amecha Yisrael u'tefilatam ve'ahava tekabel u'tehi l'ratzon All right. We're going to turn to page 176 now, and would you mind giving Robin back the mic for now? Thanks. So it's customary here for our blessing of Hoda'ah, our blessing of Thanksgiving, to give people a chance to share something that they are feeling grateful about. So we're going to read together up here at the top of the slide, and then if you've got something that you'd like to share with regard to your gratitude, just raise your hand, and Robin will get the microphone around to you to tweet. So let's read. God of goodness, we give thanks for the gift of life, wonder beyond words, for the awareness of soul, our light within, for the world around us so filled with beauty, for the richness of the earth which day by day sustains us. For all these and more we offer thanks. Baruch atah Adonai, hatov shimcha ucha na'eh lehodot. Sorry, did not mean to do that. So if you've got something you'd like to share, raise your hand. Oh, is the mic off?
Yeah, it's red.
Is red bad?
Yeah.
Red button battery is low, but it should still be working.
All right, red's bad.
Is it working?
He says it'll still be working, technically. I'm not hearing anything coming out of the mic. All right, we're going to do a real quick battery swap, folks. Hang on to your gratitude for a moment. I feel extremely grateful that our tech guy, Evan, is the kind of prepared person who comes with a set of replacement batteries.
Well, they're your battery.
Well, thank you in any case.
I had a whole battery of blood tests and urine tests and all kinds of things that the doctor done, more than 20 things that were being done, and the results that came back were good. And so this is like after 6 weeks, I'm so relieved and so grateful that the results were fine, except for one little thing that's not a major problem. So
I'm so glad to
happy
hear
with
that the news was good on your tests. Thank you. Cool. Okay. And let's just leave it on, I think, for the moment. Yeah.
With the weather, is it working?
Yes, it's working.
With the weather the way it was yesterday, and it was so humid and rainy, I basically opened up all my doors and all my windows in the entire house to air the whole thing out, and thank goodness Mitzi did not decide to use this to go roaming on her own.
She learned her lesson after the last time.
I would like to thank everyone who has expressed their hope for me and their love and hope for our grandson. And that includes Susan, whose card came from California today, and it was absolutely wonderful. Thank you all for being so caring.
Thank you, Sandy. All right. Is there anyone I'm not seeing on Zoom, Evan? All right. Let's finish up at the bottom. Baruch atah Adonai hatov shimcha ucha na'eh lehodot. All right, folks, let's turn to page 179, and let's read together in English. Grant us peace, your most precious gift, O eternal source of peace, and give us the will to proclaim its message to all the peoples of the earth. Bless our country as a safeguard of peace, its advocate among the nations. May contentment reign within our borders, health and happiness within our homes. Strengthen the bonds of friendship and fellowship among all inhabitants of every land. Plant virtue in every soul, and may the love of your name hallow every home and every heart. Praised are you, Eternal One, who blesses our people with peace. Baruch atah Adonai, hamivarech et amo Yisrael b'shalom. All right, we're going to take a moment now for our own personal prayers and reflections. Ose shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol yoshvei tevel. Ose shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol yoshvei tevel, ve'iberu. Amen. All right, we're jumping forward now to page 371 for our Misha Berach, for healing for those in our community or connected with it. This week we are praying for Raphael Aliyetti, Kathleen Aljalad, Terry Bennett, Elsie Deutsch, Betty Doer, Lee Foreman, Robin Haas, Jean Hecht, Sharon Kirchheimer, Holly Levine, Mike Martinez, John Muller, Corey Mangan, Rowan Nociolino, Grayson Porter, Bryce Schmidt, Sherry Schwartz, Shmuel Emmett Ruvain Mibet Avraham Visara, Orly Shoer, Jennifer Stile, Liz Sussman, Rabbi Lance Sussman, Timothy Swindell, Elena Witter, and Gil Williams. And if you'd like to add someone's name to our healing prayers this evening, just raise your hand.
Howard Goldstein, Hanan Yaakov.
Thank you.
Kathy Brown.
Thank you. Babs.
Lori Mongan.
Thank you.
Elvin Barshmuel, Emmett Ruvain, and Tony DiGirolamo.
Thank you. Mishebeirach avoteinu mekor habracha leimoteinu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Mishebeirach imoteinu, mekor habracha avoteinu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shelema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen. Praying for a refuah shelema, a complete and speedy recovery to all those we're holding in our hearts this evening. All right. Take a moment to share a couple words on the Torah portion of the week with you. So we're going to take a look, I want us to consider tonight the sin offering that is given in the case of an inadvertent transgression. This appears at the end, or toward the end, of the parsha for this week. Ordinarily, in Jewish tradition, an action committed by mistake, bishgaga, is regarded as non-culpable, right? If you do something intentionally, then you're responsible. If there's a punishment attached to it, then you receive the punishment. But if you do it accidentally, right, I didn't know that that's what would result from my actions, then it's non-culpable. You don't get punished for it. So in that case, why do we offer a chatat? Why is Israel called upon to offer a chatat, a sin offering, in response to a transgression which we've already established is non-culpable? Because we're talking about accidental transgressions. We might suppose that the offering is not given in expiation for the transgression itself, but maybe rather for the intended sin of not being sufficiently aware of what we were doing. So if you accept that line of reasoning, right? It's not the transgression itself. It was a mistake. The transgression was not really a transgression. The real transgression was that I wasn't paying attention, right? Or that I wasn't aware enough of my situation or my actions, and as a result, I made the mistake. So if that's valid, then we would have to say that we've identified a positive obligation that's not explicitly mentioned in the Torah, but that's implied here. The positive obligation to be aware of ourselves, to be aware of our actions, to be aware of the potential consequences of what we do. A failure of awareness is not on the same level of culpability as an act of intentional wrongdoing. But it is culpable, nevertheless, right? There's a problem here. And what's more, the severity of that culpability is apparently increased when it's the community as a whole which has made a mistake and not the individual. In other words, when the community as a whole is ignorant and not paying attention, the community as a whole has committed a graver transgression than is the case if it's just me who's not paying attention. How can we tell that that's the Torah's attitude on this? Take once again a look at the sacrifices. The sacrifices have their own kind of grammar, their own kind of vocabulary. It's a kind of language, kind of a bloody, concrete language, but a language nonetheless. And in this particular case, it says that when the community as a whole has transgressed, they're supposed to offer up both an ox, a male ox, and a he-goat as part of the sacrifice. But if an individual has transgressed by mistake, they only have to offer up a single goat, and that goat is a she-goat. In other words, there's more of a problem when the community is not paying attention, when the community is failing to be aware of what's going on, and a mistake happens, than when the individual is. And I think part of what this is saying is this: no one person can be constantly aware of everything that's going on around them. And it's beyond most of us to be up to date on all the relevant facts before making every decision. In most cases, the need to take action ultimately takes precedence over examining every detail and considering every possibility. It's nevertheless upon us to be as aware as we can manage, and at least not to disregard whatever sources of knowledge are available to us. And this line of thinking was suggested to me by the month that we happen to be in. We're in the month of June, which happens to be the month which is both the month which is designated in the LGBTQ community as Pride Month, the month of Pride, right, of LGBTQ Pride, which incidentally, right, is in the month of June in order to commemorate the anniversary of the Stonewall riots, right, when queer people had to essentially act out directly in the streets, right, in order to push back against the arrests and the persecution that they were facing and to demand some space for themselves in society where they could live in peace and without worrying about being arrested just for how they looked or who they were or whom they loved. But it's also the month which contains the holiday of Juneteenth, which is a commemoration of the date when slavery was finally eradicated legally from every part of the United States. The Emancipation Proclamation took a while to kind of percolate out to the rest of the nation. There was a civil war going on. Things were happening. Juneteenth is the anniversary when slavery officially is no longer the law of the land in any part of the United States. And I think both of these things are relevant to what I'm talking about here with regard to awareness, right, and its relationships to our errors and mistakes. Because it's an obligation that we all have to be reasonably educated regarding the struggles and experiences of different groups of people who make up the society in which we live, particularly those that we don't personally belong to, most especially those who face trouble and oppression in the society to which we belong. Right? And there, with regard to our obligation to be aware, and to the transgression of not being aware, I think there's still a distinction to be made. As a trans woman living in a world where my identity and even my right to basic human dignity are constantly in question, I've learned through experience that there are essentially two kinds of error, two kinds of shgaga, two kinds of ignorance. There's the relatively benign ignorance of those who have not had the opportunity to learn, and there is the more hurtful ignorance of those who, whether out of laziness or malice, refuse to learn. We're none of us responsible for the former thing, but we're all morally responsible for the latter. Contrary to the saying, ignorance is not bliss. At least that's not how we tend to view things in Judaism. It's a problem. Ignorance is a problem that we're all individually and collectively responsible for rectifying. And going back to that extra ox that the community is supposed to offer up in the case where the community wasn't aware, right? It's a much stronger responsibility on us as a community than it is on any one of us individually. Still an important responsibility individually, but as a community, we have the power to help each other to understand. We have the power to remind each other of what we've forgotten. We've got the power to make each other aware of what we were not aware of. And consequently, one of the very great ways in which we can help one another out as a community is to help each other to be informed. By listening carefully to what other people have to teach, by compassionately sharing the knowledge and perspective that we have, by modeling an open willingness to grow and to reconsider and to learn, we not only improve ourselves, but we also improve the world around us as well. And so what I'd like to consider tonight, what I'd like us to reflect on, right, is this distinction, right, between the transgression itself, right, and the lack of attention, the lack of understanding, the lack of learning, right, that led us into the place of committing inadvertent errors and inadvertent transgressions, of saying something that was hurtful even though we didn't really realize that it would be because we didn't understand the context. Right? Of doing something that was creating a problem for someone else because we didn't consider what their specific needs were or what their specific limitations were that was making our action particularly difficult or hurtful to them. To think about the difference between those two different kinds of ignorance, and also to consider what are the ways in which we can help each other as a community to fulfill that obligation to learn, to grow, to be more aware than we are now. What are some things that we can do to help each other out in that arena?
When I think of things that have made me change my opinion or the way I look at it, a lot of times going to be a big surprise to everybody. It's books that I've read from a different point of view. I think that some of those kind of books are things that we could actually share with each other. That I know there's some things that I have a friend who got me reading that I would have probably never just even thought to read on my own. I'm thinking about reparations for slavery. And, you know, some of the things that I've read about second and third generation Holocaust also made me think about, they're talking about that trauma. I'm thinking, my goodness, imagine the trauma that is still being carried down through the generations there. So I think that some of what we can do for each other is help recommend books, hold study sessions, have people come to speak about something from a different point of view, because sometimes the ignorance is that we don't even know what we don't know, and we need someone to sort of help us or somebody who does have something be able to share what that is with other folks.
Absolutely. And thinking about reparations for slavery is a perfect example of that. The past year or so, the Reconstructionist Rabbinical Association has been doing kind of a big push to kind of have a collective conversation about reparations that's been kind of spearheaded by a number of rabbis in the movement. And I think it's been a really wonderful thing that we're examining that as a movement and trying to add an understanding of the call for reparations into our collective understanding of racial justice. Yeah, perfect example. Other thoughts or reflections people wanted to share?
This is not for the community, but an individual mishap. When I was working in the hospital at night, we had a fire drill, which we knew about before we went on duty. Mm-hmm. And I was working with one other person. When the alarm went off, we got everybody up. There was one man who was over 6 feet tall, and you know how tall I am. I could not get him up. My coworker had all the other patients at the door to leave, and I was with this one individual who I couldn't even move. I said that if it was a real fire, he would burn. On retrospect, when we reviewed what happened, I was told I should have put him on a blanket and pulled him to the door. So if that ever happened, thank goodness it didn't, that's what I would do.
Yeah. So Sylvia's telling us a little bit about an experience she had in a fire drill at where, at the facility where she used to work, and finding out through that is oh, wait, I'm not big enough to carry this person, and having to figure out okay, so what do I do in that situation? And you wouldn't have been aware of that, right, if they hadn't been doing a drill and making sure that people were practicing for the eventuality. It's a good example. Is the mic on, or is it turned down pretty low?
It's low.
Yeah, I think the mic's volume is super low.
It's green. Okay.
I suspect that someone may have turned down the sound system volume on the stage.
Yeah, I can hear it faintly.
Yeah, the mic's on. It's just
Yeah,
really
it's really
soft.
low.
Anyway, does anyone have something else they'd like to share? All right, cool. Yeah, okay, yeah, please.
I love
Much better.
music. Is it better?
Much better.
I love music and visual art and film and all kinds of cultural expression. And I especially love when I find new bands who are expressing themselves, their true thoughts about being repressed and injustice that have been done to them. And I like to share that and elevate their voice so that more people may listen to what they have to say. So in terms of art and music.
Absolutely, yeah. The arts can be such an amazing way of sharing, of getting a glimpse of stuff that we were just completely unaware of before. Thank you. Yeah. Barbara. You're muted, Barb.
Sometimes you can learn from your own mistakes. I'll never forget, I was working with a group of people who were protesting the Broome County incinerator, which we managed to stop. And we were talking, and I was talking about my son being like a wild Indian. And the woman there, one of the women, was a Native American. And she brought it to my attention that was very insulting. Mm-hmm. And I have never used that expression again. And it never occurred to me because it's just one of those things that I grew up with my mother saying to me, stop being, and it never occurred to me that that's an actual group of people that I should not be insulting, even though Indian is not necessarily a that in itself is an insult. But at least when it's used for the Native Americans in this country.
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly the case, right? That sometimes, our mistakes can be a real, teaching moment for us if we can, find a way to be open to people's corrections like that, right? It's a good way to learn. If only we pay attention to, to people's responses and what they're doing. Yeah, wonderful example. All right, other people's thoughts? I didn't see any other hands up. All right, I think we'll wrap it up there. Thanks, everybody, for your comments. There's some really good comments tonight. Oh, wait, I see somebody on chat. Is anybody... Oh, okay. That's someone saying they'd like to add someone to the Yisker list. Okay, Eugene May. I'm going to try to remember that, Barbara. Okay, folks, we're going to share the screen once again. There we go. And I'm going to invite you to rise with us once again for Aleinu, which is on page 587. And Ross, would you mind opening the ark for us? Thanks, I appreciate it. There we go. Modim lifnei melech malchei hamlachim hakadosh baruch hu. Rise up like the sun, O God over all humanity, cause light to go forth over all the lands between the seas, and light up the universe with the joy of wholeness, of freedom and of peace. V'ne'emar v'haya Adonai lemelech al kol haaretz bayom hahu yeh Adonai echad u'shemo All right, folks, have a seat. We're going to turn to page 598 now for the Mourner's Kaddish. And this week, we are remembering the yahrzeits of Ida Etkin Unger, Erwin Phillips, Albert Eisenstadt, Morris Gabay, Seymour Orden, Herbert Berkowitz, Jeffrey Kahn, Isabel McDougall, Robert Wayne Hazen, Eugene May, Jeannie Terzili, and Dorothy Asbury. Please rise if you're able and comfortable doing so for the Mourner's Kaddish. Yitgadal v'yitgadash shemei Rabba, be'alma divrach yirutei v'yamlik malchutei, b'chayechon uv'yomechon uv'chaye dechol beit Yisrael, ba'agala uv'izman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shemei Rabba mevarach le'alam ulolmei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yithadar v'yitalev v'yithalal shemei dekudsha barichu le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbekata v'nechemata da miran be'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shalama Rabba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom bimromav Hu yaseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'al kol yoshvei tevel ve'imru amen. May their memories be for a blessing. All right, folks. Thanks, and feel free to have a seat. Just going to make a couple of quick announcements here. We've got quite a lot going on here in the month of June. And we've got a lot going on most months, but we've got quite a lot going on in the month of June. One thing I want to draw some particular attention to is this weekend. In addition to our usual stuff that's going on Shabbat morning, we've got our Torah study and our starting at 9:15, prayers after that. After prayers, we invite you to come and join us at the Temple Concord table at Pride Palooza. That's going to be in Otsningo Park. I'm going to be out there. We got a number of Temple Concord folks coming out there to represent and show our support for the local LGBT community, both in and outside of Temple Concord, and it's going to be a lot of fun. We had a lot of fun last year as well. Also, this Sunday, June 14th, is the Inter-Sisterhood event. It is at Temple Concord this year. There's going to be music by Greg Neff. They were asking people to RSVP to the temple by Monday. So hope you signed up, but it's going to be coming up on Sunday. For other stuff, please do take a look at the weekly email. We've got a lot of stuff coming up, like I said. We're going to finish up here. Sorry? Yes, we are going to have like a special, in addition to Pride Palooza, we're having some special Pride stuff going on. A special Pride Shabbat is happening the last Friday night of the month. That's also going to be a special Saturday morning because that's the Saturday morning of Jacob LaRouche's bar mitzvah. So like I said, a million things going on. Keep an eye on the calendar, an eye on the emails that we send out. We've got a lot of stuff coming up. Thanks. We're going to finish up here on 625 with Adon Olam. Adon Olam Asher Malach B'terem Kol Yitzir Nivra Yidnasa V'Hepto Kol Azai Melech Shemo Nikra Azai Melech Shemo Nikra Ve'acharei Kiklot HaKol Levado Imlok Nora Ve'hu yiyeh betifara, ve'hu yiyeh betifara, ve'hu echad ve'yein sheni leham shilo ve'achmira beli reishi beli tachlit ve'lo ha'oz ve'hamisra ve'lo ha'oz ve'hamisra ve'hu eli ve'chai go'ali ve'tzur chevli ve'yitzara ve'hu nisi u'manos li menat kosi be'yom ekra menat kosi be'yom ekra be'yado hafiruhi be'yetishan be'ayira ve'imruhi kiriyati Adonai li velo ira Adonai li velo ira. All right. I was wondering if I was going to get anyone dancing this time. All righty, here we go. Hamotzi lechem min haaretz. We give thanks to God for bread. Our voices rise in song together as our joyful prayer is said. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen. Shabbat shalom, everyone. Thank you so much for being with us tonight.
Shabbat shalom.
Mm-hmm.